Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
It is so good to be back here on a Thursday. Thanks to Joe for shooting me a message to see if the Thursday short episodes could come back as he enjoys them on his drive to work. So I did stop doing the Thursday episodes, the short, sharp ones, a while back, just because I wasn't sure whether anyone was getting value. So thanks, Joey, for letting me know. And I'm sure there's many other people who remained quiet back there. So I'm excited to get back here and chew the fat about some topics that you guys sent through on Instagram or within our free Facebook group, because it's always cool to see what scenarios are playing, hear what scenarios are playing out in your guys' lives and asking for, I guess, feedback or how I would navigate through certain situations. And this episode is going to be no different. This one is about career change and the process that I would go through in order to change career. Now, I've obviously done that multiple times. Sometimes they're significant, or they've been significant changes. Other times, not so significant. And when I say significant, I mean completely different industries, something that I know nothing about. And when I say not that significant, I would say it may be relatively similar to a career that I've had previously. But I'm very, very excited to dive into this one. And gents, it is getting very close to the end of the year. We do have an exciting webinar coming up soon on how to set your year up for success. It is coming in January 10. So make sure you stay tuned. If you want to be have access to that live, get inside the free Facebook group. There will be some gold in it that will really help you take 2022 to a whole new level, which will be very exciting for you guys. And I look forward to meeting so many more of you all next year and hopefully working with you. You know, I'm very excited. I've actually only got 2 spaces left with my one-on-one coaching currently. I'm sure some spaces more will open up, and that will definitely fill up. And I don't really push it too hard because it's always full, which is good fun, and it is really enjoyable to work with people one-on-one throughout the year. But we will be pushing that Strong Men of Value Academy because I have huge plans for it next year, based around Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane so far. And as the community grows in different areas, I'll be traveling there to help set up face-to-face huddles and really get the community getting together, which will be awesome. So if you're in any of those areas, or if you're thinking about it, make sure you bring some mates with you, because then we'll be definitely making some more trips to those locations. And obviously George Harris is leading the charge for us in the UK. So I'm very excited to get over there once we know we can leave the country and get back in without having to bloody quarantine. So stay tuned, gents. But once again, if you're tuning in for the first time, I do appreciate your ears, and I do appreciate those of you who share this on social media and tag it and send it to friends that will get some value from it. And as mentioned, this episode is coming based off a scenario playing out in one of our members' lives, which is based around going through a career change. And I want to go through the process that I would consider for myself, and even for you guys to think about before you actually pull the pin on something. I think obviously the first and most important thing to consider is why you're wanting a career change, okay? There can be so many different reasons for people as to why they want to change a career. And I've actually got some stats here. Let me get them back up here based around why people want some career changes. And this may resonate with you guys currently in your life. And I want to talk to these as well, because I think there's definitely some strategies that might you may be able to implement into your life that cause you not to have to make something as potentially significant as a complete career change. Okay, so 47% of people, look at a career change based off better pay. Obviously we like money because money allows you to fund the lifestyle that you want to live. And a lot of us are led to believe that if we earn more money, we're going to have a better lifestyle. That too can be false, after a certain income. And I think that's around 100,000 in US, in Australia, but different all over the world. 2, work is too stressful. 3, they want better work-life balance. 4, just looking for a new challenge. And 5, you're just no longer passionate about what your field you're working in. And guys, I want you to just first and foremost consider this. For what purpose do you go to work on a daily basis? And I want you to be extremely honest with yourself. There is no right or wrong answer, but are you rocking up at work purely to collect your paycheck? Are you rocking up at your work because it provides you a nice lifestyle? Is it because of the colleagues that you work with? Is it because of what you actually do at work on a day-to-day basis? And for whatever reason it is for you, that's completely fine. But I want you to think about, why you're looking for a career change moving forward. I know a lot of people are motivated by money, as I touched on before, and it's definitely, hey, if you can do the same job and get paid $10,000 more a year for it, yeah, definitely consider it. But also take into account a whole heap more, like work environment, support, maybe even commute time, various other things like that, because I have seen people in the past who've gone to a new role where they work more hours, but because it's salary based, they actually, they're earning more money, but they actually end up working more hours as well. And based off their salary that they're on, it works on a smaller hourly rate. So it's something to think about. Then you look at stress. What's causing the stress? Is it your overall life that's, can be adding stress to your work life, or is it the role that you're specifically doing? And then you've got to get clear on what specifically about that is causing you the stress. Is it the people that you're working with? Is it the lack of systems? Is it the lack of processes? Is it maybe even lack of understanding? Okay, there's a whole heap of things to consider that, should you take the time to do this, you may be able to actually overcome and make your current career where you are right now even better. So before I even look at, before I would even look at changing careers, I would dive into that. And if you need help with that, maybe we can look at doing some sessions together to help you look at that and make that decision first. If you get stuck with that, but ultimately, they're some of the main reasons why I would imagine people out there are considering to change their careers. Obviously, off the back of that. Depending on what age you're at as well, something to be very mindful of and something to really consider when you're considering changing your careers. What other roles and responsibilities and things that you have going on in your life right now? Because I know for myself, a lot of my career changes and job changes in my life happened before I was, 28, 27. Okay, and at that point in my life, I didn't have a lot of responsibility. I didn't have any responsibilities that were bigger than myself. So I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a family. I didn't have any debt. Well, I had a little bit, but not too much. Okay, so I didn't have things that were dependent upon me holding down a job and me holding a certain salary or a certain income. Okay, so when I was at that point in my life, it made it a whole heap easier to change careers than potentially someone in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s who has other things to consider, like children, to look after, to feed, maybe a mortgage to pay, some additional debt and expenses, maybe a higher living cost, because my living costs back then as well weren't as high as maybe they are now. So I even know at the time of talking about this today to you guys, if I were to consider changing careers now, there's a few more things that I've got to consider than I did last time I had a career change. And it needs to really be worthwhile, and there needs to be some significant points that I could not improve right now with what I'm doing, as opposed to why I would completely change careers. But don't get me wrong, there's pros and cons with everything. When you create change, you also create uncertainty more often than not. And a lot of people don't deal well with uncertainty and don't really like change. So if you're one of those people, you just got to get prepared for that if that's going to be the process that you're going through. How are you going to manage the uncertainty? How are you going to manage the change so that you don't minimize your productivity, you don't overwhelm yourself through that process and that transition, okay? And there's a few things that you can do. Obviously, while you're going through changes, lean on other areas in your life where there is greater support. It might be a support network. It might be having a professional to talk to, whether it be a psychologist or a counselor or even a coach, right? That you can really lean on during that time for support and to really help you keep your thoughts and your emotions at bay during that period of time. All right, that's just one of the things that I would also consider is how am I going to navigate through that. And also, I guess when you do change as well, there's going to be a whole heap of baggage that you take with you, right? Because if you've been in a particular workplace or if you've been running your own show for a while, there is definitely ways in which you're used to doing things. Okay, and potentially when you move to that new career, they might have different ways of doing that. It might be different software, it might be different management, different communication, and that can be frustrating, right? Because you're used to doing it the way that you've always done it. So you have to be able to adapt, but you also have to be able to communicate effectively and manage yourself well. So there are definitely some things to consider. And if you struggle with that, before you even make that jump, I would work on that because you want to minimize the friction when you change. But let's talk about some benefits of a career change for those who are there. And I'm going to talk about benefits of a career change if you're just looking to go from employed to another employed role. But I'm also going to talk about why I believe, and I've spoken about this a couple of times actually on a few podcasts, why I believe people should really look at starting their own side hustle or business. And it's not just from monetary value, it's actually just for a lot of personal development experience and seeking to understand and learning to problem solve a whole heap better. But some of the benefits of a career change is obviously you can experience more happiness, you can experience more fulfillment, you can experience more satisfaction, and you can minimize your stress, which are all obviously incredible things and definitely great reasons as to why you would change your career. I definitely, if someone said to me, hey, I feel like I'm going to be more satisfied, I'm going to be more fulfilled and I'll be less stressed. And because of this, I feel that's going to allow me to be happier around my friends and my family and improve my overall quality of life. I'd be like, mate, go for it. Definitely go for that. Even if it's at the expense of some income. I've, worked with people in the past where they may have a great salary, but every other area of their life has fallen apart. And I'm definitely one of the first people to raise that to them, say, look, not everything is about income. There will come times in your life where you are faced with a decision, and that decision will be, do I chase some money or do I chase fulfillment and being the best version of myself? And that best version of yourself may be being the best, most present and intentional parent or partner, okay? All things that are extremely important and probably more important to us than money, but many of us are really struggling to realize that. So definitely consider that with some of the benefits that go through that, okay? Obviously, like I said, you just got to evaluate your current job and why you're considering looking at changing that career. And another thing I'd probably throw out there to you all as well is if you're looking to change career because of money, because of income, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought that, hey, maybe the career or the job that you have right now is the perfect platform for you to then do something for yourself, right? Create a side hustle or even a side business that, should you want to and should you do it well, could be eventually one day your own thing, like your full-time thing. And I've spoken about this before many times. We talk about this a lot, or I talk about this a lot with my mates, is, if you're, say, for example, earning $1,500 a week, and, for the quality of life that you want and the vision that you've set for yourself, I've got to stop saying, I've just noticed that I keep saying it. Sorry, the little segue. However, when you're looking at that number, there's going to be an opportunity to grow. Okay, so if 3,000 take the 1,500 that you're earning, then leaves another 1,500 that you can potentially look to build up over a couple of years through a side hustle. And there are many things like, especially in this day and age with technology and various other things, a lot of people are looking at investing. A lot of people are starting podcasts. A lot of people are monetizing their social media. A lot of people are, trading cards. There's so many avenues that you can build a little side revenue for yourself. But throughout that whole process, you're really going to have to learn sales. You're going to have to learn marketing. You're going to have to learn branding. You're going to have to learn to speak to an audience. And the best thing about that is I feel learning and developing all those skills have really helped me as an individual. And I believe a lot of those skills would help a lot of people with other challenges that they've got in their own life, like patience and anger and understanding their emotions and how they can communicate to other people. So that's why I'm a big believer that a lot of people should give it a crack or at least consider it, and have that as just at the beginning. Don't put a whole heap of pressure on yourself to build this world-class business. Even if you bring in an extra $100 a month, how would that impact your life? Would you be able to have an extra date night a month? Would you be able to buy a coffee every day, and enjoy the moment with the coffee on your way to work? Like, what would that actually enable you to do? And I think having that mindset where it's like, okay, well, I'm in control of that extra bit of the spending money that I'm going to get or investing money. If I want to increase that, I just got to increase the value that I provide to other people, which in turn is really, really, really getting you to focus on growing, right? And I think that is the greatest thing we can all do. I think it makes more people realize just how fulfilling life can be when you're pursuing something that you really get to reap the whole reward for. So there are a few other things to think about. Obviously, we've spoken about, figuring out why you would like a career change and, ultimately what it's going to give to you. Keeping in mind that it can be unsettling. There are a lot of things to consider, and everyone's situation is unique, and you're all going to have to consider your current situations and circumstances and responsibilities. No one else can do that for you. And once you've gone through that process, think about some of the things that are potentially currently holding you back from it, because I know there are so many of you who have been considering doing this or considering going after something in your life, and you just haven't taken that first step. And it could be because your view of yourself is not as, if you have seen yourself in a certain career, right? It might be, I've always seen myself as a teacher. So how am I ever going to go into being a business owner? It just doesn't align with my version of my identity with myself, which means then you've got to do some work around shifting how you view yourself, learning some new ways of thinking, talking to yourself in a different manner, maybe reframing some beliefs about yourself, which is a whole different process that I take people through. You might also want to be prepared for potential setbacks, lack in income. It might be people criticizing you, saying, oh, why would you do that? You've just given up a really good, solid career and you're now looking to be an entrepreneur. That is crazy. And so you're going to have to deal with that stuff. That stuff is real. Okay, and it happens. And you also might want to keep in mind that the next thing that you go into needs to be more aligned with what you currently value, because, gents, who you are right now is different to who you were 10 years ago, I would imagine. That's just an assumption, but I'd say I'm pretty bang on there. So when you're moving forward, a lot of the decisions that you make, if you aren't aware, should be based around what you value and the value that you want to give and the value that you want to receive from your life and the moments and the experiences that you get to create and be a part of. Okay, so if you aren't familiar or if you aren't clear on what you value, that is a great place to start. And we actually have there's a video within the Strongman of Value Academy that you guys can go through in a worksheet that will help you with that if you want a hand with that. So definitely check that out. But I guess my next steps and a quick checklist for you guys to consider while you're doing this would be to make a plan, right? decide on what you feel you want to go into next. Are you going to go and remain employed, or are you going to go do your own thing? Why is it important for you for this career change? What are you looking to gain from the new role? Is it, once again, better work colleagues? Is it more job satisfaction? Is it more flexible hours? What is it? And whatever it is, be mindful to keep that at the forefront of your focus, because what will generally happen is when you get in, do anything consistently enough, you become a passenger, as we all do in various areas of our life, and you stop focusing on why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. So if you can keep that at the forefront of your mind, you're going to enjoy it a lot more, because you're going to continually be reminded, hey, the reason why I chose this job was for the extra 10 grand a year, but also the people that I now get to surround myself with. I'm going to enjoy every conversation that I have with these people. I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to be a sponge, okay? Rather than just after a while going, all right, I'm looking for the next 10 grand. Where can I get the next pay rise? So it's something to consider when you're thinking about that. And obviously have that walkaway point, like what really has to happen and what do you need to feel comfortable with before you do, burn the boats and dive into that new career or new job. It's definitely something that you need to consider, because if you don't have that walkaway point, you might never let go. And I've seen far too many people do that. And if, the reason why you're looking for a career change is because you're unhappy, you gotta create the walkaway point, because otherwise you're going to continue being unhappy, and you'll probably actually be more unhappy because you'll know in the back of your mind you just wish you knew what it was like to do something different. So I hope you guys really take that on board, and I hope it's been helpful. And once again, if you want to engage in the discussion around this conversation, it's been short and sharp. Jump into the Strong Men of Value Academy, because all these episodes get posted in there, and there's a thread there where people can share their takeaways or things that maybe I haven't discussed on here today that can, be a great, progressive conversation around that really helps other people's and other members. So thank you guys. And one thing that I actually wanted to talk about at the start, but I completely forgot, was there's a fucking fake account going around on Instagram of me. So the difference in how you should know is, well, one, I have 18,500 followers on my real account. On this fake account, I think it's 2,000. So they've done quite well actually to grow that account. But you'll see my account is at Lachlan Stuart. Their account is at _Lachlan Stuart, and they're pitching Bitcoin and some, from what I've been told. And the account has literally been reported by, I at least know of, over 100 people, because people are letting me know, and it's still up. So it's quite frustrating, but it's also frustrating for another reason, which I would have told you guys on Monday, but I didn't really want to post about it until I get this account pulled down, because it's a bit of a kick in the dick. But I've been looking to partner up with SWYFTX, which is a cryptocurrency thing. So it's sort of bad timing with what those people are trying to scam people on, which is the crypto. But I've been invested in crypto since 2017. I've been using a company here in Brisbane. They're a local company called SWYFTX for just over 2 and a bit years. And I'm excited to collaborate with them, because they're big supporters of what we do at the Man That Can project with growth. And they've also, obviously, with finances being one of the areas we look to empower and provide education to blokes in, they want to be able to educate blokes on cryptocurrencies. So there's no, we're going to have a few events in the new year where they're going to educate around their platform. They're going to talk to you about the fundamentals and basics of cryptocurrencies, and then what to look for when you're investing, when you're gambling, and all those sorts of things, which I believe you should probably listen to or do due diligence on before you put any money in anything. Like, this is due diligence, so you don't get scammed. You don't get ripped off. But definitely excited for that whole process with you guys. So you'll start seeing me once, obviously, this other fake account gets pulled down, sharing links to SWYFTX and information with those guys, which will be brilliant as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this was a nice 23-minute episode, short and sharp and punchy. But thank you guys. And remember, if you got value from this, Every time you share it, it helps the show go. Every time you leave a review, it shows other people who haven't listened that it is a trusted and respected podcast. So I appreciate everyone who's taken the time to leave reviews on Apple Podcast. And until Monday when we're releasing another guest episode, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.